Hey guys, today we're going to be reviewing this little infrared trigger which is made by Yongnuo, and it's about $3.90 from Amazon. It's a replacement for the Canon RC6. Let me zoom in a little bit on it. This is the box that it comes in. There you are. And I haven't tried it yet, so we're going to try it together right here. Inside the box is just the unit inside a little plastic bag. There are no instructions, so that's a pity, because with a one-page, not even, probably half a page, it could tell you how this unit works. But here's the unit, the way it comes, and let me zoom in on that. As you notice, the unit looks identical to the Canon RC6. The only difference is right here it says Yongnuo instead of Canon. In the back of the unit it says for Canon. Now if you look at this, there in the back there is a little button switch that goes up and down. Now what this is for is that in one position the camera fires immediately. In the other position there is a 2-second delay. There is a little piece of plastic here that says pull on it, which basically keeps the battery from being engaged while it's sitting on a shelf, so it doesn't drain. But the lifetime on these things is probably around 2 years with average use. So, you know, what can I say? For $3.90, it probably costs more for the battery. I believe it takes a CR2025. Like I said, I haven't opened it yet. So let's take a look at this unit together. I'm going to pull the flap, which says pull. Okay, now the battery is engaged. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my Canon 7D, and we'll see how well this unit performs. Okay, so one thing you have to remember is that the camera must be on, and that means, I don't mean just power, I mean that you can't let it fall asleep, because if it goes to standby, these units will not work. Okay, you have to go and push the camera button until you have it in the ready mode, and then they'll work. So let's zoom in a little bit on the camera so that you can see that better. And there you are, and let me fire it. I'm going to push the button on the IR. And it looks like the camera fell asleep. So let me go and push the camera button, and then sure enough it did. And you can adjust that time yourself on the camera so it doesn't go to standby mode too quickly, but let's try it now before it falls asleep again. There you are, okay? And again. So at roughly 20 feet or so, give or take about 6 inches, this unit seems to work quite well. So, given that the specs on most of these infrared triggers is about 15 feet, this Yongnuo performs rather well. And for $3.90, I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's really great. Now, what can you use these guys for? Well, obviously, you can get into a group photo, rather than always stand behind the camera, and remotely fire the camera. Another place where you could use these is probably if you have a set of studio lights and you have a meter, let's say a Canon meter, one of the cheaper units. Actually, they're all expensive, the Sekonic meters, but they perform very well. But let's say you get one of the cheaper units that doesn't have all the bells and whistles, and you want to measure the light on the subject. So you're standing with the meter next to your subject, and now somehow you have to trigger the camera. Well, I mean, you could set your camera on 10-second delay, and but that doesn't really work. I mean, you know, let's face it. What you want is just to fire the camera off just when you want it. So what you can do is you can position yourself next to your subject with the meter and then fire the camera with this trigger and measure the light. So they do have, you know, a purpose. Maybe you can use it, maybe you can't. But at $3.90, I mean, you can't go wrong. The one thing I like to point out, though, is that because it's an infrared triggering device, you must be in front of the camera to fire this off. In other words, the camera has to see the sensor. You can't position yourself behind the camera and fire this thing. It won't work. So if you want to take long exposures, for example, if you can find a way to get in front of the camera with this little unit and remotely trigger it, even 6 inches away, that might work. But I would suggest for things like that, you'd probably use a remote cable release, which is hardwired right into the camera. So anyway, there you have it. The Yongnuo RC6, $3.90, and it really works.